Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to look at a very nice position which will demand a lot of calculation from you. So you have to basically try to calculate without making the moves first. And if you are unable to calculate so much ahead, you can start making moves on a chessboard and try to see through the moves. So without further ado, let's go to the position. This is the position white to play. Basically, you have to decide whether bishop to c8 is a win, loss, or draw for white. That's a task. So I would suggest that you take your time here, pause the video, and try to calculate as far ahead and at different directions if needed. And then we will uh, see the solution. Okay, so I'm going to explain the answer now. So bishop c8. So I will not make the moves now. Try to calculate with me. Bishop c8. Queen has to take, right? Otherwise, we win the queen. Queen takes, that's forced. And now, why did we give up our bishop? So when the queen moves, the most active check is queen a7, most forcing line. Queen a7, king d5, queen check, king c4, queen check, because knight is supporting, king d5. And now knight is hanging. So you can't play queen takes pawn because your knight's hanging. And now knight e7 check. The king and queen are forked, right? So this is where a lot of players would reach, and they would believe that white's going to win because you're winning the queen. Again, bishop c8 takes, check, king moves, check, king moves, check, king moves, not this check, knight e7, a fork, and white's winning the queen. But that is not the end of the story. After knight e7, black will play king e4, and now when you take the queen, black plays f3. And now remember, there's no bishop. We played bishop c8 first move, right? So king is basically d2, e1, f2. These are the squares. If you go to d2, there is the bishop is here, right? So you're moving into a discovered attack. So knight d5 will pick up the queen. We lose back our queen, and he's winning. If you play king e1, the square, knight c2 fork, and you lose the queen. And if you go this square, f2, then bishop check, and when the king moves, the pawn just pushes, and it's going to promote. Now let me show you the position that I'm talking about. Bishop c8, queen takes, queen a7, king b5, we play the next check, king c4, we again give a check, king runs in circles around here, and now we don't have queen d4 because king takes knight, so knight e7, but it's very easy to stop here and say that we're winning. But after king e4, you have to see the point of these pawns and the two active pieces. That's difficult to see. So knight takes, now f3. This is where we were talking about king d2 allows a discovered attack. So knight d5 wins the queen, and black is a piece of, right? And the pawn is going to promote. So that's a problem. And if you go to e1, knight c2. And if you go to f2, bishop h4. And if you go to g1, which is the only square, f2, and pawn promotes. So this is the problem. So now, this is the interesting part. And after this comes the most interesting part. So do stay till the end of the video. So basically here, after we played bishop c8, queen takes, it's actually just a draw. We don't have to lose this as well. Queen a7 is correct. After king b5, queen b6 is also good. King c4. Here there is a draw for white. If white realizes that he's going into a big pit from where he can't get out, you can stop yourself before playing queen b4 and try to see the draw. Where is the draw? Again, you can pause the video and see where is the draw for white. So the perpetual is knight a5 check. We're going to catch the king in the center. So how is that possible? So king can't go to any of these squares. So king d5, queen d6, king e4, queen e7, king f5. Okay, you can go queen h7. And how will the king escape? King e7, e5. Now the important thing to understand is queen e7, black can't block with the queen. That would be a big mistake. Because now knight c6, let's say king goes to d5, knight d4, king has to stay connected to his queen. Yeah, otherwise we pick up the queen. This time without much problem. And now knight d3, king moves, And now comes queen b7. And if you block, it's actually forced to block, right? If you come to c4, if king c4, b3, okay, this is a very long line, but you can sense that the black king will get mated somehow. So king c3, queen b4, and if king c2, we can go queen d2. Wow, king into b3, we go queen b4, and now the king will get checkmated in the next one. King c2, queen b2 is mate. So that's a long line, that but we can sense that blocking with the queen will be a problem because of knight c6. So black cannot block. Black will have to just allow the repetition. Queen d6, king e4, queen e7, king f5. The repetition along these squares. A funny perpetual, but it's there. Okay, now comes the most interesting part. Let's go to the starting. So bishop c8 is actually a draw. Now, as for the answer, that is it, right? But you know one small thing about the position. We only thought about bishop c8. There is a very simple win here for white, which we didn't even consider because we're thinking about only bishop c8, right? This is a very important thing to understand. Like a lot of people make this mistake. We see one move and then we're stuck on that. We don't see the other moves that are required to be thought in the position. Do you see what we overlooked? I mean, the question was to calculate bishop c8, but still, what did we overlook in this position? There is a simple win. You can pause and think. The win is queen takes queen, king takes, and just knight takes. We are basically two connected pawns. So takes. Okay, it's equal material. So takes, takes, takes. But it's a pawn up, and black is double pawn. So we have three pass pawns. That position is winning because of the pass pawn. So what will black do? Okay, we're planning c6. So let's say knight d5, right? Knight d5 loses to bishop there. So knight c, no. What can black do? Knight c4, let's say. No, bishop f3, king c7, let's say. King c7, we just start pushing. Black is just helpless. The pawns are just going to roll. So in the starting position, it's not an obvious win. I mean, exchanging queens and taking the pawn is not an obvious win, but it's a very comfortable situation for white. We just exchange queens, and then the endgame is just winning for us because of the connected pass pawns.